All right then. Now, I'm going to talk about the reading module of the IELTS test, and this is really an overview of what you can expect. So we're going to look at the format of the test, and we're going to look at some of the kind of questions that you can expect. Let's start with the format. So this is what it is. You have 60 minutes to take the test. There are 40 questions and there are 3 texts to read. Now the questions are distributed evenly across the 3 texts. So that would mean that you'd get about 13 to 14 different questions for each text. I won't go into the strategies about how to answer these questions because this is just an overview of what happens in the test, and in another video we'll look at these strategies in more detail. So that's the format. Let's look at the kind of questions that you will get, because there's a range of different questions. Before I show you the examples, it's useful to understand the reading skills that these questions actually address. And there are only 2. This is the first one, which is reading for the general idea. And what I mean by this is questions that ask you to identify the overall purpose, the main ideas, the opinions and positions of the writer. And the second skill is reading for specific information. Of course, this is where you need to read and identify facts and details in the text. For example, they might be dates, numbers, or names. So whatever question type that you get, it's either going to address your skills of reading for the general idea or reading for specific information. Let's look at some example kind of questions then. So we'll start with completion exercises, and there's quite a lot of these. I'll just show you from some sample papers here. So this might be complete a diagram, you can see. This one again is a similar kind of diagram, but you've got a lot more text in the diagram rather than pictures. And this is completing information presented as a table. And here is another one where you have to complete the words in a summary. Notice that in nearly all of these completion exercises, you will have an instruction. In this one we're looking at now, it says choose no more than 2 words. The instruction might change. It might be choose no more than 3 words, choose no more than 1 word. But this is an important thing, and usually it addresses the grammar. Again, this is a little bit about strategy, so I won't talk too much about it here. But the point here is to remember that you should follow the instructions. So let's look at paragraph reading activities, and these are activities where you often have to read the paragraph and choose the list of headings. Now, there's no guarantee that the choice of headings are equal to the number of paragraphs. In this example, you can see that you have A, B, C, D, E, F, 6 paragraphs, but you have more than 6 headings, so some headings will not be used. Once again, pay attention to the instructions there, and whether you can choose more than 1 heading or not. Usually you cannot. So the next type of exercise is what you might call, I call them choosing exercises, because they're similar to multiple choice, but they're slightly different. So here, as it says, choose 3 letters A to H, and you've got the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So you're choosing the best answer there. Notice the question, which 3 of the following statements are true? And this is another example. Notice here that your choices, you've got 7 choices, but 4 questions. So once again, there will be some choices that you do not use. And this is a typical multiple choice correct answer, where you have to choose A, B, C or D. Now with multiple choice, there's often the 4, A, B, C, D, or you might get the 3, A or B or C. Of course, the one is a little bit more difficult than the other. Now, the other type of question is yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given. They're basically the same approach and the same kind of questions, but once again, be careful that you write yes or no, or true or false, according to the instructions. So if you look at this table just describes some of the examples that we've looked at and the kind of reading skill that I mentioned. So we can see that completion tables, such as completing tables, diagrams, flowcharts, or a summary, is about reading for specific information. And then choosing the correct answer, multiple choice, or choosing from several options could be either reading for specific information or reading for the general idea. And then the yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given could be reading for specific information if it is yes or no, and then the true, false, not givens are about reading to get the general idea. And finally, the paragraphs is about reading for the general idea, where you have to identify the main points in the main topic of the paragraph. So there we have it. That's a summary of what we have covered in this video, and we've looked at the format of the reading test. We've looked at the 2 kinds of reading skills that you need in order to perform well in the reading test. We've looked at examples of question types, and we've considered how those skills actually match to the question type. So now you're ready. If you're interested in reading, you can go on to the next video about improving your reading skills and strategies for answering the questions.